Hi everyone, welcome back to the Art of Save Scumming. Today we are going to be focusing on Nakari. Many of the things that I've seen written online are that this is a really hard campaign, and I just don't get it. The only thing that I can conclude is that people aren't exploiting the mechanics to the fullest, because this is basically the Total War equivalent of a pay-to-win campaign. So let's start with something basic. Here we have a situation where we can exploit the Disciple Army mechanic and the movement mechanic. So if we look at this, we can't make it here. Even if we force march, we can only get close to this army. But we can see that if we get right there, we'll be close enough to be able to assist if another army were to, I don't know, just materialize itself out of nowhere.
Herald of Slaanesh.
Right like that. So we've pushed this one off, and we probably don't have enough room to, we don't have enough space to get right up on that army, but we can still attack it. And here's the thing about this battle. It isn't important at all. A few seconds ago, this army didn't exist. It doesn't cost us anything except for some devotees and an endless pool of devotees. So, realistically speaking, we could just outright auto-resolve this after seducing their units, just to do damage so that the next turn our main army can wreck it. However, we're going to try and win this battle.
Pain is a gift. Unlie the slave.
Seeking Slaanesh's embrace!
We took the replenishment because we're going to continue to use this army in the region, but basically that's how you use the Disciple armies to extend your movement range and take out targets that you wouldn't normally be able to take out. But you're like, man, I need the money to be able to seduce these units, and I'm constantly empty. Well, let's look at the economy for some cheese. So if we look at this settlement here, we have a prime example to be made. Going into it, we have some buildings that need to be upgraded to max tier. You'll notice that there's no indicator of cost, and that's because this building is going to be completely free. Watch my money. No cost. This one, no cost. Let's build something else. Let's build this. No cost. Heck, we don't need this, but we could. Let's go over here. No cost. We can even upgrade the garrison building, no cost. Just to show that this isn't a bug, this does cost. The way that we're doing this is first our commandment, minus 10% construction costs for all buildings. We have selected this line here, which gives us a minus 50% cost for infrastructure buildings. We also have a technology that is located here, which is a minus 15% for all buildings as far as construction costs is concerned. And then the last thing, the last piece of the puzzle is this right here, materials at sea. And you get those from these things right here, but they pop up everywhere. And I want to say that 1 out of 5 gives you the materials at sea. The next thing I want to cover is the use of Disciple armies in a way that you may have missed. You'll notice that we have 2 Disciple armies here, and they are not taking attrition. That's because we have 100% corruption in the region, and I own it. And because of that, these armies can basically just sit here indefinitely, and they've been sitting here probably for about 20 turns apiece. They only cost devotees, and I'm raking in so many devotees that it doesn't matter. So even with all of the Disciple armies that I have around the map, I've got several here that are doing the defense of this region. That's a Disciple army. That is. Still netting 700 this turn. So, yes. This is essentially free defense. The other thing that is pretty decent about this is you can use them to bait enemies, particularly if you have got a province with no defenses. So if you've just got economy built in like Angerial here, you'll notice that there's no garrison or anything. They're going to be more likely to swim up here and attack Angerial than they are going to be attacking Lothorn with its hefty garrison, and I've left this one exposed so that they can see it. This one, by contrast, they can't see, and it looks much more attackable, if you will. The next thing that's pretty cool about this is you can exploit the economic system of Slaanesh. We have these pleasurable acts, and this one gives you 20% for all buildings. And it comes at the cost of control. This army can sit here and wait for that rebel army to appear and then annihilate it the first turn. All while keeping your control low, which, if you look at this, gives you an extra 300 base. Plus all the additions that I have added on top of it. You can see that you can make an absurd amount of money gaming the economic system of Slaanesh paired with their military assets. But yeah, those are established settlements. I'm having problems with Nakari and defending my new settlements. Here we have a situation where we can take advantage of multiple mechanics at once. If we look at this province, we can see that we have artificially raised the corruption in this region, just enough to be able to spawn a disciple army. And while this army is more than capable of taking this settlement by itself, we also have some other concerns in the region. So we have this province here, and this settlement, which is the province capital, has a sizable military presence. So in order to take this, we're going to go ahead and declare war on this faction. Get some relations there.
A bargain.
Launch the attack. Now that we have surrounded this settlement, we'll encircle it. Go ahead and generate our disciple army, which we did not need again. Relatively small army. But now we can take our unholy manifestation for cult uprising and use it on that army. Now this will disable movement for this army for the next 5 turns, but every turn for the next 5 turns, this army is going to generate another disciple army that will continue to increase in strength as the corruption rises. This army is going to go ahead and launch this attack and capture that settlement. Back to this situation next turn. We have our original army that can now come over here and strike this. We have this army, which is the army that is generating our disciple armies, and we have this new disciple army that can come over here. Okay, that's fine, but I constantly find myself in situations where I can't take settlements because my army just can't hack it. So in this situation, we're going to be taking this city. We're going to pretend for a second that we can't take it with this army, as in this army is too weak, although we can clearly roll completely over this settlement because they don't have all that much garrison. But let's say, for instance, that you spawn a disciple army and it's damaged or something like that, or you've got an army that's just had limited time to recruit and you need to take a settlement for advantageous purposes. So we're going to use the seduction mechanic. Take on the settlement, we can easily take it, but what we want to do first is go to our lord, and if it's not a disciple army and a real army itself, then your lord will have a bunch of stuff on him. So take off all of his stuff, and then we're going to seduce some units. So we have a limit of 4K here. We're just going to go ahead and grab... We'll start with this one. Yeah, we can't take it. So we'll seduce that. We're going to take our entire army and set it up as far back as we can. Now we're going to move it up against the border. We're going to take our seduced unit and just run it in here. Attack anything, really. Try to do as much damage as possible. We don't actually care if this unit gets killed. In fact, we are trying to get it as damaged as possible. Alright, so that unit's been wiped out. We're now going to withdraw the entire army. We still have plenty of movement to launch the attack. It looks like at least 2 more times. So You can see that they didn't get their knights back because we wiped them out. You can now take, let's say, this archer unit and... Actually, we'll not take it. Same thing, take our infantry that we seduced, set it towards the front, take the entire rest of the army, set it up right against the border, and then just charge these guys right into the archers. So here we are on try 3. Let's say, for instance, that since we've used all of our movement, we don't think that we can beat this for whatever reason. We would hold the city at siege over the end turn. The reason we would do that is particularly if there was a lord in there that could recruit, we would keep that lord from recruiting, and they would take attrition. Even if they sally out, they still won't be recruiting over the end turn. So that's one way to hold the city in stasis. Now, in this particular instance, we could have won this the entire time. This was just for demonstration purposes, so I'm going to auto-resolve it, but this is a look at how you can use this mechanic to take multiple cities across the map with inferior armies.
Leave nothing but gold.
Of course, there are many more combinations that you can use to exploit these mechanics, but these are just a few that I like to use on a regular basis. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, we'll see you on the next one here at The Art of Safe Scumming.